Good evening, everyone. I want to thank everyone for coming out in the blustery cold to attend tonight's commission meeting and our first public budget hearing. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Roll call. McKiernan.
Here.
Mugia.
Here.
Maddox.
Here.
Kane. Markley. Walters. Philbrook.
Here.
Walker. Townsend.
Here.
Holland.
Here. And I want to thank Commissioner Townsend for joining us on the phone for this evening. This evening, the invocation is being given by Reverend Gene Flannery. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Omnipotente Dios, que nos ha dado esta buena tierra por heredad, humildemente suplicamos tu ayuda para demostrarnos siempre como un pueblo reconocido de tu favor y gozoso de hacer tu voluntad. Guárdanos, Señor, de toda violencia, discordia, confusión, de orgullo, arrogancia y todo mal camino. Bendice nuestras comisiones, Señor, en esta noche en que servimos a ti. Todo lo pedimos por Jesucristo nuestro Señor. Amén.
Thank you, Pastor Flannery, for being here this evening. All right, before I ask for revisions, I want to announce that anyone who is interested in addressing the Commission on the public hearing agenda regarding the UG budget, CDBG, and the one-year action plan may sign up at either of the tables located by the chamber doors. So if you've not yet signed up on your way in and wish to address the Commission on tonight's public hearing, please go to one of those tables and sign up. We appreciate that. It helps us keep the meeting moving. I also want to let you know that names will be called in order according to the sign-up sheets, and the clerk will handle all of that, keeping people moving. She'll announce who's speaking and then who's on deck, so you can be ready to come forward so we can keep things moving. Ms. Cobbins, are there any revisions to tonight's agenda?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Blue sheet has been distributed. Under the mayor's agenda, we have a new item. It's item number 2. It's a resolution for the parole office location in opposition of the proposed location at 712 State Avenue. There's a reorder on the mayor's agenda. Items 2 and 3 are now going to become item 3 and 4. On consent agenda, we have another item, a new one, item number 5. It's an ordinance for minor revisions to the flood plan ordinance. Under the administrator's agenda, we have an update. It's item number 1. It's a resolution for the issuance of municipal temporary bonds. Those are the final numbers submitted to the CFO office, and that is also item number 2. Under the public announcements, we have 2 items, county administrator recruitment update, and we have a proposed revision to the times for future standing committees.
Okay, thank you. We have a very packed agenda tonight. A lot of things going on, a lot of moving parts, so bear with us as we make sure we're moving in the right direction. The first presentation is good news. It is a presentation from the Hollywood Casino. They have come to make their annual presentation to the unified government. It's part of their partnership, so I'm going to turn it over to Administrator Hayes for an introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight is the night that Hollywood Casino makes its charitable contribution presentation to the unified government. The Mayor has asked us to prepare just a bit of background for those that aren't familiar and those that may have forgotten. As a part of the development agreement with Hollywood Casino agreed, and for those of you in the audience and at home, you can follow the graphic that's now on the screen. Commissioners have a copy of this item in your packet. There's an annual charitable contribution amount that was negotiated with Hollywood Casino as a part of their development agreement. Essentially, it provides for $1.1 million, $1,130,000 annually to be provided for charitable contributions to our community. as this presentation is made tonight, would point out that there is a process and a pathway for those funds to follow in terms of how those dollars help our community. I know it's difficult to see on the chart, but the two green triangles to the left, I will read those for you. The far left box speaks to the host, non-host school district issue. $500,000 of the $1.1 million go to the non-host school districts. The casino is located in the Bonner Springs School District, and therefore they receive property tax dollars directly from Hollywood Casino. However, it was agreed that our community should benefit at wide, and through that then, the $500,000 is allocated to USD 500, Kansas City, Kansas Public Schools, Turner School District, and Piper School District in a formula that was established. So $500,000 go directly to the non-host school districts of the funds that are being provided here tonight as charitable contributions. The second from the left green triangle represents $500,000 that is committed to charitable organizations and social services. The Commission has been involved and has selected the Community Foundation of Greater Kansas City to be the agency working with local officials and local representatives in accepting applications for social service agencies in a very formal process, reviewing those, and then awarding $500,000 to local charities and non-for-profits to provide services to citizens in our community. The other blue circles, I'll just highlight those briefly. $100,000 goes directly to the Parks and Recreation Program, and we have $25,000 going to Chamber of Commerce, and to other chambers of commerce we have $10,000. So that totals $1,135,000 in direct contributions going to our community that are required to be paid by Hollywood Casino, actually required in the development agreement, but I should point out that at the time we were negotiating with Hollywood Casino, they were more than willing to make this as a community contribution to support our community for having them hosted in Kansas City, Kansas. So Mayor, at this time I'd like to call forward Bob Shelton. Bob serves as the Executive Director, Manager, and President of Hollywood Casino here in Kansas City, Kansas. Bob, if you'd like to comment, I know the Mayor's going to join you shortly for the check presentation, but if there are any comments you would like to make on behalf of Hollywood Casino, we would welcome that at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes, and good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. Of course, I'm very delighted to be here to tell you that we've completed our full second year of operation at Hollywood Casino, and we've experienced some great and continued growth through that year, and we hope to see that continue through 2014 as well. It's going to be a challenging year as the gaming and casino market, like many industries due to the economy, seems to be slowing down, or if not shrinking in some cases. While at Hollywood we've been able to continue to grow our revenue, we hope to continue to do that in this very challenging market. So being here tonight to be able to present a check in this amount is really a good thing for all. And certainly as part of that commitment, I do have a check here for you, Mr. Mayor, for $1.1 million, and that constitutes the two contributions of $500,000 and the $100,000 to Parks and Recreation, and the other checks to the CVB and the Chambers of Commerce are being sent out in the mail tomorrow. So, there we go.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Right.
Can we get one more there? We got a timer here. Up to date.
Great.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your participation. I'd like to record the show I'm handing this check to Administrator Hayes.
This check will be placed with the county treasurer tomorrow for deposit for the purposes we discussed earlier. Thank you very much, Mr. Sheldon. Thank you to the Hollywood Casino for supporting our community as well.
Thank you. All right, before we move forward, we do have some elected officials in the audience tonight. We want to thank former Councilman Chester Owens, who is here tonight. We want to thank Jeff Bryant with the Board of Public Utilities, who's here, Mary Ann Flunder with the Kansas City, Kansas Community College, and Crystal Watson with USD 500. And Bob Mylan with Board of Public Utilities just came in as well. Thank you all for being here tonight. All right, our next step is we have a resolution. Last week we had a presentation by Representative Valdenia Nguyen, who brought to the commission a concern about a new parole office that the state is wanting to open at 7th and State Avenue, and it's adjacent to a daycare center, an active daycare center, historic daycare center. And several of the commissioners reached out to Representative Nguyen and expressed their support for her in opposing this. Hal Walker did take some leadership in that and reached out to the legal department and asked them to draft a resolution. That resolution is before us tonight in blue sheet form. And so I would like to ask the clerk to please read this resolution for our consideration tonight. And I will also let you know I've been in communication with Secretary Roberts and with the governor both this week. I actually spoke with the governor today to talk about our concerns and to let them know that this resolution was before us tonight. So Ms. Cobbins, if you would please read this resolution.
A resolution expressing the unified government of Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas, Board of Commissioners' opposition to the proposed location of the Kansas City Parole Office at 712 State Avenue in Kansas City, Kansas. Whereas the state of Kansas is proposing to move its Kansas City Parole Office from its current location at 155 South 18th Street to 712 State Avenue, and whereas the unified government values the opportunities provided by the State Department of Corrections for former offenders to re-enter the community, and whereas the unified government disapproves of the location chosen by the state adjacent to a long-standing existing child care facility, and whereas the unified government is concerned that the state did not avail itself of beneficial local input and engage the governing body about their location prior to its announcement, and whereas the unified government wishes to convey to the state its desire that in the future the state will enter into a discussion with the unified government concerning the location and relocation of any proposed state facilities within its jurisdiction. Now and therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the Unified Government of Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas, that the Board of Commissioners expresses its strong opposition to the placement by the state of Kansas of its Kansas City Parole Office at 712 State Avenue, Kansas City, Kansas, adjacent to the Pandorama Daycare located at 1118 North 7th Street. That the Board of Commissioners hereby directs the County Administrator to convey a copy of this resolution to the Secretary of Corrections and to the Governor. That the Board of Commissioners hereby urges the state to reconsider its location of the Kansas City Parole Office in the interest of the children at the Pandorama Daycare and their parents. The Board of Commissioners hereby direct the County Administrator to explore the options available to unified government to work with the state to find an alternative location for the Kansas City Parole Office.
All right, that is the resolution that our legal team has drafted. Is there any discussion?
Move for approval.
It has been moved and seconded for approval. Commissioner Maddox.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say that I appreciate Hal taking the initiative to push the resolution forward. But I also want to say, as a commissioner in which the parole office was to be located, that I did call and reach out to various staff members and ask them how we get this put on the agenda and get the thing done needed to stop the parole office. But I was told by 2 or 3 individuals that we could not do it, it could not be done. And so I say that to say that I was not consulted as being the 4th District Commissioner about this coming forward in a resolution or in any form. And so as a Commissioner of the District, I appreciate in the future that we work together and that we work with the Commissioner of that district when things are happening of this magnitude.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Commissioner Murguia.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to echo Commissioner Maddox's comments about, community awareness. There was also recently, I read in the paper that there is a opening of a I believe, and $4 million expansion of Rainbow Mental Health Center. That as the District 3 Commissioner, I had to hear about that on the news. And more concerning to me than anything is that my constituents were also unaware of this facility. So I'm not sure when our local government heard about this development, but I really think that we can't control what the state does, but we absolutely can control what we do when we have knowledge of this kind of information. And I think it's our duty to bring it immediately to the public, at least if for nothing else, awareness on the particular topic. And while I have a chance, I just want to thank Heidi Holliday for holding a public meeting at the Rosedale Development Association next week to bring those constituents most affected by this development up to speed. And again, I just hope moving forward that as soon as this government hears about these types of developments, they will bring them to the public immediately.
Okay, any other comments? All right, there is a motion and a second. Roll call.
Roll call. McKiernan.
Aye.
Mugia.
Aye.
Maddox.
Aye.
Kane. Markley.
Aye.
Walters. Philbrook.
Aye.
Walker. Townsend.
Aye.
That motion passed 9-0.
I'd like you to record I did not vote on that by statute unless there is a to make action, but I would like the record to reflect my support for this resolution. All right, that brings us to item number 3, and we are going to begin our public budget hearing tonight. And just prior to that, our finance staff has been working on a number of issues, and one of them was to bring together our end-of-the-year numbers. Preliminary numbers, these are unaudited, but they are our best presentation from our staff. So we're going to bring forward now our presentation on our end-of-the-year numbers from 2013, so we can have a picture of the financial climate for our community as we enter into the public budget hearing.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. Hayes, members of the public. As Mayor said, I'm going to present some of the year-end preliminary numbers for 2013 for the general fund and the dedicated sales tax fund. I did want to just note that these numbers are preliminary and have not been audited at this time. The first fund we're going to look at is the consolidated general fund. This would include the city and county general fund as well as the Parks and Recreation fund. This graph shows the 2010 actuals through the 2014 projections. I'm going to start with the middle column that's titled 2012 actuals. Just going to start there with ending fund balance, and then I'm going to move to the right. In 2012, we ended with a fund balance of $9.7 million. As when we approved the 2013 amended budget, we had a projection of ending the year with a fund balance of just under $5 million. As you can see with our preliminary estimates, we are now projecting that we will end with a fund balance of about $6 million. Even though this is about a $3.7 million drop from the 2012 actuals, it is $1 million higher than what we originally projected when we approved the budget last summer. So we view this as very positive going into 2014. The 2014 are budgeted numbers, however, we've revised that to reflect our current projections for the end of year 2013. So we're now projecting an ending fund balance in 2014 of just under $2 million. The next fund is the dedicated sales tax fund. This fund was established in 2010 with the approval of the 3/8 cent sales tax. As you can see, this fund receives over $6 million in revenues every year, and it goes to fund police and fire operations, as well as neighborhood infrastructure improvements. In 2013, the revenues were up 7% over budget. And you can see that we also expended almost 100% of the budget in this fund. So the fund balance that you see, the $495,000, is related to the excess revenues that we received. The next two funds are related to trends for the general fund. and tie back to the numbers found on the first slide that I did. This is a revenue expenditure graph showing revenues and expenditures for the last 5 years. The red line shows the expenditures and the blue line shows the revenues. As you can see, in 2009 and 2010, the expenditures exceeded revenues, and therefore we experienced a drop in our fund balance. However, in 2011 and 2012, we were able to reduce expenditures, and our revenues actually exceeded expenditures, and we were able to recognize a fund balance in both of those years. However, in 2013, we are projecting expenses to exceed revenues again, so we will have the drop in fund balance. This next slide shows the ending fund balance for the general fund. For this slide, we went back for the last 10 years. As you can see, back in 2004, the ending fund balance for the general funds was approximately $35 million. From 2005 through 2010, we saw a decline in the fund balance all the way down to 1.8 million in 2010. And then, as I stated earlier, in 2011 and 2012, our fund balance did increase, but then we do have another drop in 2013.
Ms. Johnson, before you go on that slide, is it based on our general fund of approximately $186 million, $188 million? I believe our stated commission goal is to have a 10% reserve in our fund balance.
That's correct.
And would that be about the $18 million mark?
Yes.
So
the balances right now, with our preliminary 2013 balance, our fund balance as a percent of expenditures is about 3.2%.
Okay, so currently, if we kept that, we want 3 times the $6 million we have now in order to reach our goal, which helps our credit rating and our cash flow and a lot of other things. So keep that in mind. And we're already projecting a $4 million dip in that for 2014. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
This next slide, I'll cover the 2014 approved budget. The left side of this graph shows the sources of support for the total unified government budget, and this shows revenues by types. Our largest revenue source is tax revenue, and the largest of that being property tax, followed by sales tax and franchise taxes. The next largest type for revenue is charges for service. On the right side of the graph is expenditures for the unified government budget. The largest program expenditure for this, covering almost 50% of the budget, is public safety. Public safety includes all of police, fire, and sheriff operations. Second largest is public works. Public works is responsible for the management of streets and bridges, and this would include snow removal, as well as all other public infrastructure and public building operations. Now I'm going to turn it over to Wilba Miller, Director of Community Development.
As Wilba's coming forward, I'd just point out that Debbie Johncher, our speaker, is Deputy Director of our Finance Department, and introducing now Wilba Miller, Director of Community Development. Wilba?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. Hayes, and members of the public. The Unified Government receives an annual allocation of entitlement funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development for the following programs: the Community Development Block Grant Program, known as CDBG, the Home Investment Partnership, known as HOME, and the Emergency Solutions Grant Program, ESG. HUD provides these resources for the purposes of meeting the needs of low-income citizens. The left pie chart reflects the funding sources for the 2014 approved budget, which includes the 2013-14 fiscal year allocation and prior year funds and projected income. The right pie chart shows the approved budget by program activity and grant program. The estimated 2014-15 HUD allocations are based on previous year's allocations of 2.1 for CDBG, 566,000 for HOME, and 147,000 for ESG. We are awaiting for our annual allocation notification from HUD and do not know at this time if there will be a reduction of funds or not. Examples of eligible CDBG activities include demolition, public services, public facility improvements, rehabilitation of housing. Examples of home activities include down payment assistance and rehab or new construction of affordable housing. And finally, examples of emergency shelter grant activities or emergency solutions grant activities include rapid rehousing and homeless prevention. An information packet with a list of eligible activities and details of the HUD requirements for each entitlement program have been made available at the sign-in table. In order to receive these funds, the unified government must submit an annual action plan for the current fiscal year. The action plan consolidates these grant programs into a single app to meet HUD's statutory program goals of number 1, decent housing, 2, a suitable living environment, and 3, expanded economic opportunity. HUD requires that the annual action plan identify the linkages between the use of federal resources and specific objectives that were developed to address priority needs that were approved in the 2010-2014 5-year consolidated plan. This evening, we are fulfilling the HUD requirement to obtain comments from citizens and other stakeholders prior to developing the annual budget and the draft annual action plan. We are seeking to ensure that citizens participate and understand that the proposed plan will address housing and community development needs, the development of proposed activities, and review of program performance. The draft annual action plan will be published in June or July to meet the 30-day citizen comment review requirements. A second public hearing is scheduled in July in conjunction with the Board of Commission meeting prior to the adoption of the unified government's budget. A notice of that public hearing will be published in local newspapers such as the Echo, the Call, Globe, Dos Mundos, KC Hispanic News, and Wind at West, and also placed on the UG website. This annual action plan must be submitted to HUD no later than August 15, 2014. According to the federal regulations, failure to meet this requirement will automatically result in a loss of our funds. The deadline is in compliance with the submission of the plan to be 45 days prior to the start of our October 1st fiscal year. This concludes my portion of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So before we open up for the public budget hearing, I want to give a few comments on this, and I want to thank this commission. Following the last budget hearing, the last budget process, really, the commission unanimously agreed that the process felt too condensed, and especially the public comment portion. And if I misstate this for any of the commissioners, please interject. But it felt like the public comment in our budget hearing in May came too late for adequate consideration of the budget that was adopted in July. There were a lot of programs that needed vetting. There was a lot of information that needed to be gathered, and we felt like we were making some haphazard decisions and not giving, one, a full consideration to the request, but also wanted to improve the process. So the commission committed, after the final budget was adopted last July, that we would prioritize looking at our budget calendar moving forward. I want to thank Commissioners Markley and McKiernan for stepping up and with the input of the other commissioners coming up with a new calendar. We brought that to our October strategic plan, and the commission unanimously adopted this new budget calendar. Now what that means is we've bumped everything way back into the calendar. So we used to do our CMIP, which is Capital Maintenance and Improvement Plan, which is a 5-year capital maintenance plan. We used to see that for the first time in June, and then we'd adopt it in July. We would hear the first budget hearing in May and consider everything, again, adopt everything in July. So it felt too rushed. So now we heard our first presentation on our CMIP plan last commission meeting in January, pushing that back 6 full months. We've also pushed back 4 months this presentation for the public. So some new things for tonight. When you come forward to speak, you'll also need to know that on February 20th at noon, any funding proposal form is due in the budget office. Those are available tonight for anyone to pick up. They're available on our website. So if you want to submit a funding proposal to the unified government, the deadline is February 20th at noon. That is the cutoff, and that will give us ample time to give it due consideration and allow the departments that it would affect to review it. Also, On the week of March 3rd, a preliminary draft of the citizen survey will be available, and that will be a highlight for our strategic planning session that is scheduled for March 8th. The public is welcome at that. That strategic planning session will be held on the 5th floor here in our new community meeting. It will also be televised, so you can watch from the comfort of your home. Yes? Also, on March 20th, the Commission will be submitting the budget priorities to our staff, and then we will begin with those priorities the rollout from the staff presentation to the commissioners. We will have a second public hearing in the month of July, and then in early August we will adopt our 2015 budget. So everything we're doing is 6 months earlier than we've done it before. And we believe that that's going to give the public a better chance to give us input, and it's going to give the Commission a better opportunity to work the issues throughout the budget. So I want to really thank the Commission for this vision, but we really need to thank our staff who have done a Herculean effort, especially in this first year, to turn around the kind of numbers and input we need on a completely different schedule. And our finance and budgeting office has gone above and beyond in terms of their work, and we need to recognize them as well. But that puts us in a good position for the presentation tonight. So, with that, I want to move into our public hearing. We have 18, they're passing out the budget calendar. Right on cue. So if you would like a copy of the budget calendar, this is on our website, but you can also, if you're in the audience tonight, you can get a copy of this tonight. We have 18 citizens who have signed up to speak tonight, and so we're going to ask you to come forward at the direction of the Ms. Cobbins from our county clerk, to come forward to state your name and address for the record, but also to try to limit your comments to 3 minutes, knowing that you will also have the opportunity to fill out your form and submit that by February 20th. So I'll turn it over to Ms. Cobbins. She not only will call the names, but she will also provide the timekeeping.
We would like to welcome all present to the public meeting of the Unified Government of Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas, regarding the Unified Government Proposed Budget, Community Development Block Grant, and 2014 One-Year Action Plan. We appreciate the attendance of those people this hearing, and we recognize the importance of your views. As the mayor has indicated, we have 18 individuals that have signed up to speak. Each person will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. Should you go to the 2-minute mark, I will announce that you have 1 minute remaining, and that would allow you time to wrap up your comments. As you come to the microphone again, please state your name and address for the record. On deck means that you will be the next person to the podium. We appreciate their efforts to be considered all during this comments. We ask that anyone with a cell phone to please turn them off or switch to non-audio. Once comments begin, we would appreciate no talking, clapping, or outburst, so you will not disturb the hearing for recording purposes. If any distractions occur, you may be asked to leave the room. Bridget Job to the podium. Dennis Ware will be on deck.
My name is Bridget Job. I live at 2718 North 123rd Street in Kansas City, Kansas, and I am the Executive Director of the Kansas City, Kansas Convention and Visitors Bureau. First of all, I'd like to thank this commission for your dedication and support to tourism and to the CVB. I've been with the CVB for over 15 years, and I can confidently say that we currently have the greatest support and partnership with the unified government that we have ever had. Our 12-person board of directors consists of 1/3 UG representation, keeping us in constant contact and oversight. The CVB, we operate at a very high level. We are a major leader in tourism in both the state of Kansas and in the KC metro area, and we are only as strong as our partnership, so thank you for your support. The mission of the Kansas City, Kansas CVB is to maximize the number of overnight stays in Kansas City, Kansas by marketing our attractions, events, retail, and lodging facilities. The CVB brings together all of our city's tourism assets, positioning us as a true destination for all of our visitors. In 2013, the CVB generated over 12 million digital and print impressions. We distributed 150,000 visitor guides and brochures, handed out 6,000 welcome packets. We had over 82,000 people visit our website at visitkansascityks.com. We were in 2 TV commercials through the state of Kansas, in the Kansas City metro area. We have over 10,000 people who follow us on our social media. We had marketed KCK at over 15 travel shows, and we had multiple familiarization tours with writers and the media. That's just a portion of what this CVB does. 43.9% of visitor spending in the state of Kansas is made within the northeast region of the state. Wyandotte County plays a very major part in that 43.9%. In tourism, the concept of if you build it, they will come is not true.
You have 1 minute, ma'am.
A tourism destination is made by building the right mix of amenities and services, but a destination is made successful by marketing and promotion. The competition for visitors gets stronger every day, and we must make sure that KCK continues to be at the forefront of our visitors' minds. The KCK CVB is a 501c6 entity which contracts with the unified government. Our current contract runs through 2016 and provides for a specific funding stream. We ask that you continue to keep tourism marketing as a priority as you look at not only this year's budget, but also at future years. On behalf of the Kansas City, Kansas Convention and Visitors Bureau Board of Directors, I thank you for our support, and we look forward to many years of that partnership. Thank you.
Dennis Harris to the podium, Jim Netter on deck.
Good evening. I'm Dennis Harris. I reside at 5926 North 123rd Street. I'm here on behalf of the Wyandotte County Fair Association and the County Fair Foundation, both 501c3 not-for-profit organizations. Had an opportunity to meet at a working session with the Commission and the Mayor on November the 21st, at which time we kind of updated everyone on where we were at Phase 1, where we're at on the fairgrounds, what we'd like to do in Phase 2. We also discussed that we'd be submitting a request for a budget in line with the 1954 general election, which established a mill levy for the Fair Association. We also talked about at that time long-term funding for the fairground for the development of Phase 2, 3, and 4 to make the fairgrounds a destination, entertainment, and facility that can be used by folks within the entire community. We will submit a budget in those lines. We'd certainly like your consideration with regard to that in all aspects. We'd also going to request long-term funding. We'd like to talk to you about Phase 2 at that last meeting. We've got a exhibition hall out there of 22,000 square feet. Needs heat and air in it so we can utilize it on a year-round basis for all kinds of activities. We'd like to prepare and commence operation of the shooting facilities that have been authorized by special use permit. We've got lighting situations, road situations, and other things that would be utilized in that long-term funding over a 20-year period. We will be filing our formal request on February the 20th. Thank you.
Jim Netter to the podium, Marcia Rupp on deck.
My name's Jim Knetter. I reside at 11624 Hollingsworth Road, Kansas City, Kansas. Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. Hayes, thank you for hearing us. I'm speaking as a community leader, a community member, a 4-H leader, and a taxpayer in Wyandotte County. And as such, I would like to thank the Commissioners for their financial support of the Kansas State Research and Extension Office here in our county. Some examples of how this office has provided services to our community include the following. Our 4-H club has grown to approximately 75 members in the last 5 years, thanks in part to the presentations and materials provided by the Extension Office. Mrs. Lori Wallner has presented on many occasions information and activities about foods and nutrition to our entire club. This is a service she provides to our young children after hours in the community. There are great things happening in the program of nutrition provided by our Extension office. Many hours are spent working with the school systems to ensure the school lunch programs are nutritious. The Extension office also provides an after-school program to over 1,100 children in our county. On a personal level, Mr. Bruce Gladney has provided current research to me and my 4 business partners regarding fertilizer application in conjunction with the latest irrigation techniques. This type of information allows us to farm more economically and with greater ecological methods. Thank you in advance for your support.
Marcia Rupp to the podium, Joseph Stryker on deck.
My name is Marcia Rupp. I live at 2816 North 46th Street. I'm a neighborhood watch leader and also an activist. I'm here every year. I feel like I'm in that movie, what is it, Groundhog Day, where everything keeps happening over and over again. And so here I am back up here 3 years again, begging for police department and fire department personnel. We're 20 short in the police department. We're 10 short in the fire department. There were classes that were scheduled that were canceled at the last minute. These people quit their jobs, came here, are staying in an apartment, don't know how to pay their rent. Okay, we need to get these places filled. We're paying sales tax on them. We have been for the last 3 years. We have 7 more years to go. This is dedicated for 10 years. And, you know, I'm just so upset about this because I have to come up here every year and beg this commission to fill life-saving units. This is about quality of human life. Thank you.
Joseph Stryker to the podium, Tom Nally will be on deck.
I'm Joseph Stryka. I live at 1026 Ann Avenue, Kansas City, Kansas, and I'm the housing manager at Metro Lutheran Ministry and the board president of the Wyandotte County Homeless Services Coalition. The Wyandotte County Homeless Services Coalition is submitting a fund request to the commission for $50,000 to continue supporting the position of coordinator for the Homeless Services Coalition. The position has been funded by the Unified Government as a contract position utilizing CDBG administrative funds since 2007. Due to the new budget requirements, we have been asked by the UG to submit a formal request for funding to the Commission. Funds requested would be utilized for salary and benefits of the coordinator for the WHSC. The position is vital to ending homelessness in Wyandotte County. The coordinator helps ensure that over 1.5 million grant dollars from HUD are brought into the community each year, allowing homeless services organizations to provide housing and services to the poorest, most vulnerable in Wyandotte County. Without this position, these dollars are at risk of not being renewed each year, which would have a drastic impact on every homeless service agency in the community. In fact, when we did not have a coordinator in place in 2005, we were one of only a few communities who did not get these HUD funds approved and had to fight to get our renewal funds reinstated. It was a long process that should never have occurred. Units of government around the country, including locally in Kansas City, Missouri, and the state of Kansas and the state of Missouri, are supporting their local continua of care by committing to providing funds for staff and operations in the lead bodies of their local continuum of care. The Wyandotte Homeless Services Coalition is the lead body of the Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas continuum of care and is in need of continued support from the unified government. Without this financial support, HUD could deem our community low priority and reduce the amount of funds we receive from all HUD sources. We appreciate the ongoing support of the Commission and look forward to a continued relationship for many years into the future.
Tom Nally to the podium, Chuck Schlittler will be on deck.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. Hayes, staff, and other citizens. In 1987, the Reverend A.C. Cuppy founded Kaw Valley Habitat for Humanity. In his role as founder of Kaw Valley, which then became Heartland Habitat, Reverend Cuppy had a favored scripture. It was Isaiah 58:12, and it reads, "You will rebuild those houses left in ruins for years. You will be known as a builder and repairer of city walls and streets." Heartland Habitat for Humanity is proud of our partnership with the unified government in building those houses and repairing those city walls and the streets. Since in the last couple years, Heartland Habitat for Humanity has built 10 homes and repaired over 75 existing homes, allowing Kansas City, Kansas residents and homeowners to stay in their homes. Unified Government has been a wonderful partner during this time, allocating less than $500,000, creating a 2-to-1 match of private dollars invested in Wyandotte County. Heartland Habitat for Humanity has partnered with such great companies as General Motors and Procter & Gamble, Wells Fargo, City Financial, Harley-Davidson, Kansas City, Kansas Youth Build, and USD 500, just to name a few, bringing in over 3,000 volunteers into the Wyandotte County community to help rebuild Kansas City, Kansas. Because of our partnership with the Unified Government, as we speak, there is a house being built on North 13th Street, just 1 block north of Quindaro. That house will be built with an ENERGY STAR 3 rating of at least 60, which is about 40 points better than the national average. I challenge any home builder, public or private, in the entire metro area to build a more energy efficient house. Also, because of our partnership with the Unified Government, Heartland Habitat made the commitment to keep one of our restores located here in Wyandotte County. That restore, located at 1270 Merriam Lane, annually collects more than $40,000 in local and state sales tax that's contributed back to the
You
community.
have 1 minute, sir.
I strongly encourage and urge the Unified Government to continue to fund the needed programs for affordable housing, for neighborhood reinvestment, and for community development. I certainly want to thank the Unified Government and the Community Development Department, the Land Bank, and all the other departments that provide those great services for affordable housing, community development, and targeted neighborhood improvement. Thank you very much.
Chuck Slittler to the podium. Heidi Holliday will be on deck.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, administrators, commission, staff, and citizens. I'm Chuck Slittler, office at 3125 Rickerhoff Road, Kansas City, Kansas 66115. And Commissioner Townsend, good evening to you. Would draw your attention to a letter that was submitted to our commissioner January 21. I will not read that. It essentially says that we ask that the CMIP work beginning in 2014 continue into 2015 via CMIP funds. There's development going on in the north part of Fairfax. There will soon be development, as most of you know, on the south end of Fairfax. In addition, there are 8 additional businesses expanding in one way or another. The work begun in 2014 is going to complement all the activity currently going on. The rebranding of the area, the revitalization of the area, the renewal of the area. Needs to happen not just with businesses coming in, but also in the appearance of the district. We're old, I'm old, I look old. Not much can be done about that, but we can do some about the infrastructure and landscaping, et cetera, needs in our district. We appreciate your investment. Good to see some smiles on your faces, and we look forward to the continuing partnership with the Unified Government. Thank you.
Heidi Holliday to the podium. Rachel Hostler will be on deck.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Heidi Holliday. I'm Executive Director of Rosedale Development Association, 1403 Southwest Boulevard. I also live in Rosedale at 4322 Lloyd Street. First, I would like to thank all of you for your support of the Neighborhood Business Revitalization Groups, or NBRs, and for your support of our request for an increase in funding in last year's budget hearings. We are here tonight to request that our funding level be raised in 2015 to $30,000, an increase which will bring us back to the funding level we were at pre-recession. The 8 NBR organizations, Armourdale Renewal, Argentine Betterment, Central Avenue Betterment, Downtown Shareholders, Historic Northeast Midtown, Leavenworth Road, Rosedale Development, and Turner Community Connections cover the entire area east of I-635 and a little bit west of there. While our organizations vary in our programs, services, and scope, we all work with residents, neighborhoods, businesses, and the UG to build strong and healthy communities. In 2013, our 8 organizations collectively leveraged $825,000 against the $180,000 UG contracts we received, more than quadrupling the UG's investment in our work. Together, we provided youth programs for over 1,600 Wyandotte County youth and 300 seniors, organized over 8,000 hours of direct service from more than 650 volunteers, provided assistance to 360 businesses, organized over 65 community events and programs, addressed over 675 codes, crime, and blight issues, and picked up over 20,000 bags of trash. The neighborhood business revitalization groups are a perfect example of a public-private partnership, and the return on investment is huge. Beyond the numbers, though, the NBRs play a crucial role as a liaison between the businesses, neighborhood groups, and the UG.
You have
All
1
of our-
minute, ma'am.
All of our neighborhoods are unique, and we follow that vision and lead of our communities. We ask you to invest again in the NBRs at the pre-recession rate of $30,000 for the 2015 budget, and in my last minute, I will also talk to you about the Infrastructure Action Team, which I chair. This year, we looked at street improvements in Wyandotte County most in need of bicycle improvements. We are excited about the Southwest Boulevard bike improvements and the UG's investment in active transportation. And we've met with many of you about our bike route recommendations. We have just begun taking this to the community, but we do want to recommend that 10th Street from Quindaro Boulevard in the north to Metropolitan, which is actually 12th Street in the south, be one of the first immediately improved bicycle routes. It goes by many schools and parks, connects many destinations and neighborhoods, and you have already heard from students who came to one of the standing committee meetings
Your time
who
is
want to
up,
see the
ma'am.
bike
Thank
lane.
you.
Thank you.
Rachel Hoslet will be to the podium. Tanya Metzler will be on deck.
My name is Rachel Hostetler. I live at 4146 Booth Place in Rosedale, and I am also the Community Service Coordinator for Rainbow Mennonite Church, which is located at 1444 Southwest Boulevard. First, I want to thank you for allocating money to start a new bus route along Southwest Boulevard this year. The Argentine and Rosedale communities are very excited about having a bus line that will connect residents to a grocery store, medical care, the library, community center, and many employment and educational opportunities. We greatly look forward to this route starting in July 2014. As you begin to plan the budget for 2015, we ask for your continued support of public transit and of the Southwest Boulevard bus. We plan to widely advertise the start of this new Southwest Boulevard bus route and anticipate it will be a successful route given the demand for it. This new bus route is already leading to positive developments in the community. Rainbow Mennonite Church is planning to develop a pocket park on its property at Southwest Boulevard and Mill Street, where there will be a bus stop. We expect this will be a highly used bus stop because it is so close to Rosedale Ridge, a low-income housing complex. And we hope that the pocket park will make it inviting for persons to wait for the bus. The community is very appreciative of your support of the Southwest Boulevard bus route and hopes for your continued support of this route and public transit in 2015. Thank you.
Tanya Metzler will be to the podium. Ed Linderberg will be on deck.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Metzler. I'm the Director of Community Development for Virtu Community Enrichment, located at 1100 County Line Road, and I'm also a resident at Rosedale, located at 4308 Lloyd Street. Virtu Community Enrichment would like to go on record in support of the Housing Neighborhood Community Development Goal as stated in the 2014 Citizen Community Organization and Commissioner Funding Proposal Form. Virtu Community Enrichment is a nonprofit community development and social service organization serving the Waterstone apartment complex in the Rosedale community. During our initial strategic planning process that took place early last year, we worked with the residents of the area, local agencies, faith-based organizations, and the youth of our community and identified 4 focus areas, which include youth development, adult education, health, and hunger. All programs are at no cost to not only the residents of Waterstone Apartments, but to the residents of the Rosedale area as well. One of our partnerships that the Commission is familiar with is with the YMCA of Greater Kansas City, who recently appeared and received approval for the special use permit that is going to allow the YMCA to have a full-time after-school program at our location. Waterstone's 372 units encompass a diverse community. African American families represent 41% of the population, approximately 32% are Latino, and 22% are Caucasian. The remaining 5% are of mixed or unknown ethnicities. 40% of the Waterstone units are occupied by low-income residents whose rent is subsidized by the Kansas City, Kansas Housing Authority. That brings me to why we are here this evening. Waterstone is seeking assistance with deferred capital improvements to preserve decent housing. In 2013 sequester, Waterstone lost the funding for 47 project-based subsidized housing vouchers that were awarded through an RFP process in 2011. This caused a reduction in occupancy and in revenues. It created an approximate annual loss of $475,000. Capital needs have been greatly deferred because of this. The owners have two choices. Neither one has a desired outcome that will address these needs. We either raise rates, and this will further reduce occupancy among those who can't afford the increases, and again, capital needs will continue to be deferred. Or we can apply and register the complex as a low-income housing tax credit, a LIHTC property. This would restrict residents to low-income families exclusively.
You have 1 minute, ma'am.
The LIHTC would also reduce diversity and eliminate flexibility for a period of 30 years. Waterstone is close to KU Medical Center. With the economic development taking place in this area, it would be a mistake to restrict diversity and flexibility in the use of this property. The other thing that we're looking for is transportation. Waterstone is well positioned to contribute to the economic development of KUMC and the growth throughout the Rosedale area. It would serve as a residence for students and middle-income families who are securing employment in the area. This evening, we did bring some residents who are in support of this. Will you guys please stand? There you go. Thank you very much for allowing us the opportunity to speak, and we appreciate your consideration and your time.
Ed Lindenberg to the podium. Brenda Shivers will be on deck.
Good evening. My name is Ed Lindenberg. I am the Director of Downtown Shareholders. My address is 726 Armstrong, Kansas City, Kansas 66101. Tonight I'm here to talk to you about the Improvement District, but not because you're the unified government, but because you're the largest property owner in our district, exempt. So I'm here on my knees asking for some support. Starting in June 9th, 2009, we had 62% of our property owners, both by value and size, to say yes, they wanted an improvement district and were willing to pay an additional property tax to make that happen. Currently, we're in our 55th month in making that happen. We have hired and have contracts with MBE and LBE, both for clean and safe programs. Installed new high-definition security cameras around the transit center to make that investment safer for all that ride. Partnered with MCSP, which is Metropolitan Community Service Program, to provide worksite Monday through Friday for those folks that are assigned community service to work in our downtown to improve the quality of life. Our security ambassadors are trained in CERT, which is Certified Emergency Response Training, CPR, bicycle training, same as our community police officers go through, certified tourism ambassador training that Bridget puts on for our visitors to make sure that they're happy when they come and find their location. Mental health first aid certification as well, because we do have folks out on the street that have issues, and we need to be able to serve them and get safely to a location where they need to be. Some statistics, just for those of you that don't know, we've had over 83,000 calls for service to our security team. They've responded to all of those. We've had 106 arrests in our downtown. We've had to make out 1,300 reports for the courts. We have over 70 calls to help with the EMS.
1 minute, sir.
Thank you. All of that to be said, I'll come down to, I thought I had 5 minutes, so I'm begging on my knees faster. The reasons, if you'll go to the very bottom, is that we've got some additional costs that have come up since our inception in 2009. Wilhelmina Center has increased their population that they serve. Most of you have gone and seen what the lunch is like, and I believe some of you even recommended the Improvement District come and help solve some of those safety issues. We're happy to do that. There is a cost. The other is the Transit Center. We're happy to have it in our downtown. We're proud to see it, and we understand that ridership is up. We have written grants to try to raise money to find this. We did for this year and last year to support it. However, there is a cost ongoing. The other is our trash cans. Those are also ongoing costs. Those are all outside of our basic service agreement with you and with our small businesses downtown.
Your time
the total
is up,
cost,
sir.
Thank you. The total cost is $76,000. We're asking tonight to, one, have an amendment to the 2014 budget and to think of us in 2015 with an increase in investment in our downtown. Thank you.
Brenda Shivers to the podium. A.J. Dusick will be on deck.
Good evening. My name is Brenda Shivers, and I am a member of the Board of Directors for the Northeast Economic Development Corporation. I'll be very quick, and I have with me Mr. Mallon, who is the CEO of the Northeast Economic Development Corporation. Our organization is requesting assistance from the unified government in the restoration of the Turner House, which is located on 3rd Street in Kansas City, Kansas. A detailed proposal will be submitted for that. NEDC is also requesting an infusion of both unified government funds and community development block grant funds in the continued revitalization of Quindaro Boulevard, particularly between 10th and 27th Street. The Neighborhood Revitalization Program, the Neighborhood Stabilization Program, known as the NSP program, invested over $4 million in building 20 houses, but we all know that these houses cannot stand alone and stabilize a neighborhood. So we're asking that the unified government and community development and other utilize funds and resources to help to stabilize this neighborhood. And we also want to thank the Community Development Department for its continued support of Northeast Economic Development Corporation. Mr. Mallon.
Thank you, and thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, for this opportunity. I come here for a special reason. If I look at the demographics of the fire department, I begin to be kind of concerned as a citizen as to what we can do. I recall some years ago we had a cadet program, and I'm asking that that be reinstated and funded under your consideration. That's point one. Secondly, I look at the demographics of 406 firemen, and here's what the records show. Currently, there are 406 firemen currently employed. Out of that, there are 62 minorities. That includes Black and Hispanic. That doesn't sound too good to represent Wyandotte County, and let me tell you why. If I look at the chief breakdown, we have 24 chiefs, 2 blacks. Captains, 77, 3 blacks, 4 Hispanic. If I recall some 80 years ago when I was born, and I became a grown man, we had about 25 black firefighters in Wyandotte County. So what happened? Because the cadet program has been not funded anymore, and the recruitment program, I pray that you include the cadet program in your budget, the recruitment program in 2014, so we can include the minority participation as firemen for Wyandotte County. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A.J. Dusick to the podium. Mario Escobar on deck.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. I'm A.J. Dusick. I live at 8006 Ella, Kansas City, Kansas. I'm your commissioner on the KCATA over town, the bus service. I've heard a lot of people talk about transit tonight, and I want to second that. We have got a boom year going on our hands. We've had connects. We've got the expansion down south. We've got increased bus sizes on 101. We're growing here. We have the only Sunday service in the entire state of Kansas. We are the smallest of 105 counties. We are a county of hardworking, blue-collar people for the most part that have to get to their jobs. Some of those jobs are not very well paying, as we all know, and it calls for people to be resourceful. To be resourceful, you have to have availability. That's what we're providing through transit, availability. Get you to your job, get you to your doctor, get you to your homes at night. We need to keep moving on this. Don't sit still, press forward. We now have the largest transit center in the area, out at 47th and State. That's going to help fill that donut hole that we've got going on between this end and that end. We've got some fantastic things coming our way if we're brave enough to step up and take advantage of them. Please support transit.
Mario Escobar to the podium. Ron McLendon will be on deck.
Good evening. My name is Mario Escobar, 1438 South 25th Street, and I'm the Executive Director for Argentine Betterment Corporation. ABC has worked closely with other community organizations to bring a new Save-A-Lot store to the Argentine area. Save-A-Lot is currently leasing the building owned by ABC. Additionally, ABC is continuing to work to bring community improvements to Argentine through events program and residential commercial development. ABC believes that Argentine is a diverse neighborhood where locals can come together to celebrate, to resolve their own problems, and to create a shared future and restorative action and community. While Argentine has some significant community improvement over the last several years, there are still many buildings and community that are in despair. These buildings, both residential and commercially, are a blight community and do not reflect the type of stability and welcoming neighborhoods in Argentine is wanting to continue to be. Blight space building is despair, and abandoned property can attract negative influence to community and reduce property value. We'll be selecting a building there in the neighborhood to restore and improve the blight in our community. Thank you.
Ron McLendon to the podium. Claire Shaw on deck.
Good evening. I'm Ron McLendon, address 3236 Coleman Road, Kansas City, Missouri. I'm representing a Transit Action Network. We're an organization which works to improve and expand public transit throughout the Kansas City region. 2013, as Mr. Dusick indicated, has been a great year for public transit here in Wyandotte County, with 2 new transit centers at 7th and Minnesota and 47th and State, and also conversion of Route 101 to Connect service. It was sad that we had to say goodbye to Marcia Bernard last year. She was a great supporter of public transit, dedicated to transit riders. The good thing is that she got to see the dedication of those 2 transit centers. Her email address, incidentally, One Bus Lady, her personal email account, One Bus Lady, kind of says it all. We want to thank you for finding the resources to add big buses to Route 101. I came over here this evening on Route 101, and I'm happy to report that everybody had a seat. We look forward to working with you again during the coming years to make even more improvements to transit here in Wyandotte County. We're in full support of the Southwest Boulevard route to serve the Rosedale community. We'd like to see reestablishment of direct transit service between 47th and State and the Mission Transit Center in Johnson County. You know, and maybe even we might see a county-wide transit map that shows all of the transit routes in the county and at least a summary schedule as well. So thank you very much, and we'll be in further contact with you with regard to some additional thoughts and needs that we see.
Claire Shaw to the podium. Chester Owens on deck.
Good evening, Mayor Holland and Commissioners. I'm Claire Shaw, President of the Spring Valley Neighborhood Association. I live at 4448 Francis Street. We are a neighborhood of 300 homes in the southeast corner of the county. I'm also here with Gretchen Patch, President of the Mission Cliffs Homeowners Association.
2808 Lake Avenue.
We are here to advocate for continued and expanded funding for neighborhood infrastructure repair and improvement. First, we thank the Commission for the incredible progress so far. In Spring Valley in 2012 and 2013, 45 homes were able to get their sidewalk and driveway aprons repaired, and 21 of those homes also got new curbing. This was all made possible by the UG's 75-25 program. Another 56 homes in my area are slated to get repairs in 2014 using CNIP funds. We would ask that you continue to empower Commissioner Murguia and the other commissioners to help neighborhood groups like mine, Gretchen's, and others to build on this momentum and continue on this path of urban renewal and revitalization. Other important renewal projects include parks improvement, for example, Fisher Park's play area, funding for traffic calming devices, additional lighting on city streets in high crime areas, and increased monies for the Livable Neighborhoods grants. Thank you for your time.
Chester Owings to the podium. You pass? Okay. Our final name will be Crystal Watson.
Good evening. Please forgive my voice. I am a little hoarse. But to the commission, to the mayor, and everyone here, I am before you regarding Section 3. We were requesting funds for not only 2015, but for 2014, particularly the uncommitted CDBG funds that are available under the 2014 budget. To my knowledge, there is no provision in the budget process when requesting funds because there wasn't a process in place. So in following protocol, I've sent letters, I have contacted the commission, we have followed the direction of the city manager's office, and as of yet, we have not gotten any answer, an update, or a status on how we can request funds under the 2014 budget. In speaking with some of you, I promise to do my due diligence to find additional funding to help alleviate some of the costs we were requesting. And I am very happy to report to you that we were approved under the Workforce Investment Act as a provider to provide training for Section 3 residents. So what does that mean? We created a program that is a pre-apprenticeship redevelopment construction training. We will be billed per participant that completes that training, and that training will allow that participant to learn hands-on construction, OSHA, asbestos awareness, some basic education, and CPR training. We're really excited about being approved under the Department of Commerce to provide this training, but we still will need funds to develop the platform for marketing and communicating positions under Section 3.
You have 1 minute, ma'am.
So we want to stress that Section 3 stands to benefit public housing residents and persons who live in the area where HUD-assisted project is located and who have a household income that falls below HUD. We have a number of residents that are unemployed. About 65% of them are not working or haven't worked, and we can help alleviate that with Section 3. So I ask the commission, please provide me an answer for the 2014 uncommitted funds. What is the process? And look forward to another year for 2015. Thank you very much.
All right, that concludes our public hearing for the budget. We want to thank everyone who came out tonight on this especially cold night. One of the downsides of bumping our process up several months is it's in the middle of the winter. So we do appreciate your coming out. I do want to ask, I'm going to ask Administrator Hayes to go over the budget calendar, and then I will call on Commissioner Maddox afterwards.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor spoke of many of the dates that are shown here, but just as a refresher for those in the audience and those at home, the budget process for the 2015 budget preparation. Tonight is the initial public hearing for citizens and agencies to offer comments and make requests. We heard earlier this evening that February 20th at noontime is the deadline for any organization or group submitting a funding proposal. On March 8th, Commission will be holding a strategic planning session regarding financial issues in the 2015 budget. March 20th, the Commission, and this is the earliest we've ever had this at a staff level, the Commission will be forwarding its budget priorities onto staff before April 1, scheduled on March 20, which will be a great assistance in developing the budget, which essentially occurs during the months of April, May, and June. On July 10th, the administrator will submit a proposed budget for Commission's consideration. There will be budget workshops during the month of July, and the second public hearing required by state statute will occur just prior to adoption of the proposed budget, which will be in late July or early August. So once again, second opportunity for public input will come in late July. As you can see, the Commission will be putting in a lot of time and effort in this revised process, which staff certainly welcomes. Thank you, Mayor.
You noticed a little bit of glee in Administrator Hayes' voice. This will be the first year in how many that you've not participated in the preparation of the budget?
Over 30, Mayor.
So certainly earned your break. But if you want to come and help out, feel free.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that invite.
Commissioner Maddox.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to be clear that if entity or nonprofit was not able to present tonight due to inclement weather, that they have till February 20th as the deadline to turn in their proposal. And then if they're not here tonight, whom do they turn that into and where?
Once again, that date is February 20th. It will be in the budget office, noon time. Budget office is located on the fifth floor, on the fifth floor of this building, and all the applications will be timed in and noticed for the official process. So once again, that date, Reggie, February 20.
Link on the website. Yes, sir.
So it does not have to be delivered in person. It can be emailed to the budget office prior to the deadline.
All right.
And to emphasize also, everyone who did present tonight, we need that form because that's our standard form. So if you have a specific funding request that you stated tonight, we would ask you to please fill out that form and turn it in by February 20th. It's a standardized form that helps us identify the needs that have been given. So if you have a specific funding request, please fill that out. All right, thank you very much. That concludes the first public budget hearing for the 2015 budget. That brings us now to our consent agenda for the evening. We have a number of items. I would ask, would anyone in attendance tonight or anyone on the commission like to remove anything from the consent agenda? Anything that is not removed will be approved in a single vote.
Move for approval.
Second. Let the record show I see no one moving forward to remove anything from the consent calendar. It is properly moved and seconded. Roll call.
Roll call. McKiernan.
Aye.
Mugia.
Aye.
Maddox.
Aye.
Kane. Markley.
Aye.
Walters. Philbrook.
Aye.
Walker. I'm sorry.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
That motion passed 9-0.
That brings us now to the administrator's agenda. We have a number of resolutions necessary for the issuance of our municipal temporary notes. These have all been discussed prior. The sales have gone through. There is always a little bit of a change in the valuation depending on the terms of the sale that is captured during the bidding process. Mr. Levins.
Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. Hayes, I've provided you with a summary of today's bond and note sale in a memo with an attachment also from Springstead, our financial advisor. I'm going to go over the highlights of it, and I do want to point out, I noticed sitting here that I do have two corrections. On December 19th, the Commission authorized the offering and sale of $75 million of temporary notes and $28 million of general obligation improvement bonds. Today, we went forward with that sale. We had different series, and those series included a Kansas City, Kansas bond and note sale, both tax exempt and taxable, a Wyandotte County bond sale related to the emergency communications upgrade, and then there were also taxable and tax exempt sales of temporary notes that occurred today. We had strong interest from investors. We had at least 3 bids on each of the bond and note series. The bond bids had ranged in interest costs from 2.6%, and that was on a 10-year taxable bond issue, to a high of 3.4% for a 20-year bond issue. And so when I refer to that as a high, we were very pleased that that rate for that 20-year tax exempt issue, which was our largest issue at $16.5 million, that it came in under 4%. Remarkably, on our temporary note sales, we had temporary note sales, the tax exempt 2 series, that totaled $68 million, and temporary notes are a 1-year financing, and our annual interest cost for that was 0.17%, so a very low rate for borrowing on the temporary note basis. 0.17%.
0.17%.
Yeah, even the taxable series was just under 0.5%. So the to borrow on a short-term basis, interest rates were very low on the bids. We view the results very positive. In advance of the sale, we had credit calls last week with our 2 credit agencies, Standard & Poor's and Moody's. I want to thank Mayor Holland for participating in those calls. Both agencies reaffirmed our credit ratings at the AA level. Moody's, we were at the lower end of the AA level, and they maintained a negative outlook. Some of the reasons why our ratings remain positive, and these came from the reports they issued, which you have before you. And I'll mention specifically, but they refer to budget flexibility, strong liquidity, referring to available cash, and management were viewed positively. Several of the financial policies which we brought before the Commission in the last 3 months were actually specifically cited in the report as positive steps on the management side. Concerns in both reports were the level of debt burden and 2013 budget performance, which we started off the meeting when Debbie discussed that expenditures were greater than revenues. And what the bond agencies refer to that as being in structural imbalance. So what they're looking for is, and it doesn't occur every year, but they want to see continued performance where revenues are consistent with expenditures. Dave McGilvery of Springstead's here today. I think he has a few comments he wants to offer, but I think maybe before I'll turn it over to him, unless there's any questions, we can go through the action items before you.
Thank you.
Okay. The first item number 1, is resolutions pertaining to the issuance of municipal temporary notes. I think from discussion with legal that we need to vote on each of these as separate because we're doing them under different authority, both city and county authority, and then we have both tax exempt and taxable issues.
I'm going to go for it. We're going to move to approve Series 2014-1.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Commissioner Murguia?
I just have a couple of requests. Mr. Levin, you have reported on some positives and negatives in regard to your conversation with Standard & Poor's and our bond counsel. Could you please forward those in writing to me and obviously the full commission if they're all interested in seeing what those are?
I've attached reports from both of those agencies.
Did you specifically outline the negatives and positives that you listed tonight?
I can highlight those for you.
Okay, that'd be helpful. And then I would just ask, Mayor, that prior to our budget, I know we have a super busy calendar, but I've never had the opportunity to hear directly from Standard & Poor's, and based on a meeting that we had in Economic Development recently at our standing committee, I was wondering if you could make it, that conversation with Standard & Poor's available to the full commission in a special session via a telephone conference call. That would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, and what is your, help me with the
topic?
Yeah.
Our level of debt.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the table. And so we're going to go ahead and click through these, and then we will come back for Mr. McGilroy to make some closing comments. So the first one is before us. Seeing no further comments, roll call.
Roll call, McKiernan.
Aye.
Mugia.
Aye.
Maddox.
Aye.
Kane. Markley.
Aye.
Walters. Philbrook.
Aye.
Walker. Townsend.
Aye.
That motion passed 9-0.
I move to approve issuance of Series 2014-2.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Roll call, McKiernan.
Aye.
Mugia. Maddox.
Aye.
Kane. Markley.
Aye.
Walters. Philbrook.
Aye.
Walker. Townsend.
Aye.
That motion passed 9-0.
I move to approve Series 2014-3.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call.
Roll call, McKiernan.
Aye.
Mugia.
Aye.
Maddox.
Aye.
Kane. Markley.
Aye.
Walters. Philbrook.
Aye.
Walker. Townsend.
Aye.
That motion passed 9-0.
I move to approve issuance of Series 2014-4.
Dash A. Is it 4 or A4? Thank you. I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. We're going to need something. Roll call.
Roll call, McKiernan.
Aye.
Mugia.
Aye.
Maddox.
Aye.
Kane. Markley.
Aye.
Walters. Philbrook.
Aye.
Walker. Townsend.
Aye.
That motion passed 9-0.
Moving right along, I move to adopt the issuance of Series 2014-A with the ordinance. We have to do ordinance and resolution, right?
Ordinances through
On
resolution.
A and B, there's an ordinance and then a companion resolution. I'm not certain if two separate actions need to be taken.
I'll defer to legal counsel. May we do those for Series A? May we do both the ordinance and resolution together?
Yes. Okay, so I make the motion, I amend my motion to approve both the ordinance and resolution together for Series 2014A.
Is that acceptable to the second? Roll call.
Roll call, McKiernan.
Aye.
Mugia.
Aye.
Maddox.
Aye.
Kane. Markley.
Aye.
Walters. Philbrook.
Aye.
Walker. Townsend.
Aye.
Motion passed 9-0.
I move to approve Series 2014B, both the ordinance and the resolution.
Roll call.
Roll call, McKiernan.
Aye.
Mugia.
Aye.
Maddox.
Aye.
Kane. Markley.
Aye.
Walters. Philbrook.
Aye.
Walker. Townsend.
Aye.
That motion passed 9-0.
And finally, I move to approve Series 2014C, the resolution. There is no ordinance in this case.
Let the record show that was seconded by Commissioner Hal Walker.
Enthusiastically.
Roll call.
Roll call, McKiernan.
Aye.